You're good.
Jordan just told me we're good. We're ready to go.
Well, it's being told you're good is an important thing.
Paul, you weren't spoken to yet. You know what? It's your big day. It's your big day, but let's not get crazy. Unless you want to host, then I'll just sit here and you can take over.
You're a show? You're a show.
All right. Anyways, it's a show. It's just a little thing we do every day. Producer extraordinaire, Jordan is here. Jordan, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
On this Friday, everybody's excited because the weekend's arrived. And also everybody's excited because apparently Paul, who is retiring today, this is his last day.
Yeah.
And Paul Gianamore, you know him from Stage and Screen. Stage and Screen being WTOV 9 and Fox 9, reporting on a number of big stories. And also he was overseer of the newsroom to make sure everybody was heading in the proper directions. And before that, for good 30 plus years, outstanding reporter, worked at the Herald Star, but then a number of papers that you've written for or had things published in. And after about 40 years?
44
years. It's time you're hanging up your typewriter. No, that's not true.
Yeah, well, the typewriter's in the hallway. It's been collecting dust under a lamp for years now. But it's been an interesting time. I mean, when I started, there was no, cell phones, no Facebook, no Google. Yeah. we had to actually go out and leg it all out. And I was taught by a whole lot of good folks, and that has continued right up to the present day.
All right. So today is a big day. Now, Paul has said for a number of weeks, months, whenever the countdown began, basically, I'm going to pull an Irish goodbye. I'm just going to disappear from work. I'm just going to leave. That's going to be it. Well, he didn't know he was dealing with, because there's no Irish goodbye when it comes to me. There's no way. And there's no goodbye anyways. Yeah. So long. Yeah. Love you. See you later. That's what's going to be. He says, But anyways, I wanted to have you on the 9-Minute Phill-Up today to thank you for everything that you've done. I know there's people around the Ohio Valley that have followed you in terms of your writing career. And now into TV. And I know you've told me that people come to, hey, I know it's a serious story when Paul's reporting on it. So that's got to make you feel good when you get that. I mean, that's not just someone saying that. When they say that for a reason, and I would imagine, and the transition from newspaper to TV or TV to news, whatever the transition, it's not easy. No. But when you have somebody say that, I would imagine it makes you feel pretty good.
That was interesting. The first time that happened, it was about 6 years ago, and I was at Mountaineer Brewfest, and I'm walking around, and a woman walked up to me with her college-age son, and he said hello to me, and she said hello to me, and she said, we watch News 9 religiously, and I thanked her because we'd be nothing without those folks watching
absolutely.
Us. But then she said, we always know, and she said, my son always says it's a serious story when you're the one doing it. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. Nobody ever said that to me in the newspaper, but I like that reputation a little bit, I guess.
It's a great reputation to have. And speaking of building a reputation as a writer, as a newsman, around the Ohio Valley, and you mentioned you've had a number of mentors, whether that be editors, fellow reporters, people you worked with in the newspaper, and then people that you met and got to know along the way. Maybe a Red Donnelly is a name that jumps out, but then we found a Rolodex on the desk that has, it may have been, we believe it was Red Donnelly's Rolodex. Yes. And you have gone through there and said names, and we both kind of looked at each other. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Then there's name. I'm like, I have no idea.
There's others that I covered, and you weren't. So we think it's Reds. Yeah.
What's it been like, the journey from when you started here in the Valley?
It has been an amazing thing. I mean, from when I was a little kid, I think I always wanted to be a news reporter. My dad watched Walter Cronkite every night. The Herald Star was cover to cover reading for my dad and my mom. And then for me, as I grew up, I remember sitting by the window on Friday night or Saturday morning, grabbing the newspaper and trying to read it probably before I knew how to read. And I went from that to actually getting to do it. Covered City Hall for 9 years, a couple of different mayors, the police department's changes that were made in Steubenville. City manager came in. There was no city manager when I started. It was a strong mayor government. The changes. I was sitting in my last commissioners meeting yesterday, and I missed Tony Morelli. He wasn't there. But I was sitting there thinking, wow, these guys are a totally different set of guys from when I started.
Yeah.
It's funny that you watch all the growth and change. And the business itself has changed. I mean, the fact that we're doing this live show online, this didn't exist.
No.
You know,
No.
We, like I said before, we didn't have Google. You wanted to look up something, you either had to find somebody who could advise you, or you were going to the library and hoping to heavens you could find a periodical with the information.
Well, that or the Dewey Decimal System never lets you down.
Yeah, 2.1.08397. I wasn't a mathematician. That's why I'm a reporter. But those changes are all amazing. And then social media, I think, there's a part of me that hates it. People have become a lot more crass. They say things they wouldn't say to you unless they were under the influence in a bar on a Friday night. But on the other hand, it is a way that we get a lot of good information shared with us. And I'm trying to remember all the folks who take care of us on there instead of the ones who do the other things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you mentioned a few things that I want to ask you this, because you grew up in the Valley. You've now worked in the Valley for 44 years. Do you like where the Valley's headed? Do you as you look around and things change, they stay the same? And there's always good and bad. You can find good and bad. If you want to look at it and say this is awful, if you want to look at it and say this is great, you can find both. But as a guy that grew up here and has seen the changes, good and bad, what do you think? What do you think about where the Valley's headed, and some of the people that maybe you worked with way back when that are no longer with us, and now the torch has been passed to a newer generation? What's that been like, and what do you see?
I covered a lot of the steel industry when I started here. I remember that, the first bankruptcy of Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel was filed in 85, and it was the first time a union struck a bankrupt company. And then they went bankrupt again. They got sold to the Russians. They got sold to the Bouchard brothers. I mean, it just went, covering all those developing skills as a business reporter. Eventually those mills went. And that became quite a transition. Me personally, what am I covering now? But for the Valley, we were dependent on them. And it's sort of like, the day your father passes away, or a family member, your favorite uncle, it's like, what do we do now? I think we have hit the bottom and are starting to turn up. I look at Wheeling as the shining light right now of all the things that are going on, all the construction. I know it has been impossible to drive through downtown Wheeling. I certainly have not enjoyed taking the Starship down there and banging it off of potholes, but they're making all the right moves. I think Weirton is starting to come along, and I'm starting to see some light in Steubenville. The biggest key is everybody's got to row those boats in the same direction in these towns. Stop fighting. We have nothing to fight over anymore except building a future. And that's the key to the whole thing. And I think Wheeling found the secret sauce first. Weirton's getting there, and Steubenville's starting to come along.
I think that's a great way to put it. There's nothing really to fight over. We all have to row in the same direction, or everybody's got to work together. And we talked about it. Jordan and I did the other day. We talked about at the end of the show, at the beginning of the Lenten season. Maybe for Lent, just try and be a little nicer. Just try to be 2%. We went with 2%, 2% nicer. If everybody was, think about this, just in the Ohio Valley, if everybody was 2% nicer to each other, how much better would we be? And I know this is the most simplistic way to look at things, but sometimes that's all it is. What is it? Keep it simple, stupid.
It's become too easy to knee-jerk respond to everything in here. And I remember from column writing, you don't do the knee-jerk. Don't write the first thing that pops into your head, because it will be completely from the wrong direction.
Don't do it with emotion. Let your emotions settle down.
Exactly. And I think that's the key. Recognize the good things that are happening. Yep, you know what? There are potholes all over the place. There are potholes in Kansas. There are potholes in Oklahoma too, okay? Shopping malls aren't what they used to be. Well, you know what? They're not what they used to be in Pittsburgh. They're not what they used to be in Schenectady, New York, okay? We are not that unique. What we have, one, is a great group of people. People who know how to work and want to work, people who want a good place to raise their families, which everybody does everywhere, but we have the secret sauce. Like I said, we just need to acknowledge it a little bit and stop second guessing the people who are trying. And if, one thing doesn't work, try another one. And I'm not saying latch on to con men and shysters. I'm saying appreciate the people who are making the real true efforts, and appreciate that. Yeah, it takes a little patience. We fell from a very high mountaintop, one of the richest places in America, to the bottom of the heap. Takes a while to build back up out of that. That didn't happen overnight. We're not going to suddenly be the shining star again overnight, but you can't look at something like, shining star. Form Energy is actually adding more on already. You can't look at that where my dad's blast furnaces used to stand in Weirton and say, something good's starting to happen here.
It's a beautiful building. Just driving by makes you feel good. It
looks like the future.
Oh, it sure does. It absolutely does. All right, Paul, I'm going to give you, there's no way you could do it in a minute. But I'm going to give you an opportunity here to say thank you to whoever you'd like to say thank you to, in terms, because I know you've talked to me about I hear all these different names. Some of them I recognize the face right away in my mind's eye, and then other ones I don't know who that is. I've never met that person. But there are a lot of people that have helped you along the way. And before I let you do that, I want to recognize that one of the things that happens, and I think sometimes you don't realize it, and I'm just speaking to you specifically, but I think it happens to a lot of us, no matter what job you're in, the amount of lives that you touch, you don't really know. And you don't know the impact. And when you're a reporter or writer, you put things in the paper, you write these things, or you put things on TV as a reporter, and like the two people you met, we know it's a serious story, so they pay attention a little bit more. So I just want to let you know that over the course of 44 years, the amount of lives that you've touched and influenced, or given information to that was critical to them, that may have made their life a little bit better or a little bit easier, I don't think you'd be able to count the number of people. And it doesn't matter. It's like a teacher. There's certain things that teachers do that they have no idea how many lives they touched. So I want to thank you for that. But I also want to give you the opportunity, if you have some special people that helped you along the way, got you started, to thank.
Well, I got to start with, first day on internship, I walked into WSTV radio, which is gone. The transmitter sits out on our lawn, and, that was where I wanted to work. Internship. Charlie Calabrese was the news director there. Charlie has since passed away. Wendy Vogel was there. And Wendy has been a friend for life. She is just a
great
character
lady
and a half. When I went to the newspaper, I got another radio stop to make, and that was with the guy who was at the newspaper and at radio and with the steelworkers, Dave Gossett. Dave just quietly did his job, and he was one of the best newsmen in the area. And for whatever reason, he taught me some things. I went there as a totally green kid, and he sent me down to cover the Steubenville police strike of 1982 by myself in the courtroom. And I'm going, I don't know what to do. And he says, just, I'll talk you through the live hits. Don't worry about it. And we worked together till he retired a few years ago at the newspaper. Ross Galbraith is the current editor of the newspaper, a dear friend for life. I mean, just, they don't come better. Motts Malone had been photographer and reporter.
I just like hearing you say Motts Malone.
It's the coolest news name. I mean,
it sounds like it comes right out of a movie.
If he had been in television, he'd be Motts Malone, Beirut. It's just one of those names, right?
Absolutely.
Motts is a tremendous human being, active in the veterans now in Burke County in the Salvation Army. But Motts was one whale of a photographer, taught me photography, the useless skills now of photography and darkroom skills, but also reporting, but mostly how to talk to people and how to get a story when they don't want to tell you. Motts just has this way with people, putting them at ease, getting them to share things. And I learned that from him. Mark Law, covered the courthouse like it was the back of his hand in Jefferson County for 40 years himself. The three of us are getting together for breakfast Monday morning, and I can't wait. We were the Steel team.
Time out. Jordan, are we invited to breakfast Monday morning? What do you think? Should we crash the party?
I don't know.
You guys want to? I don't know what'll come out on midday. You'd have to do a live hit with me on midday.
There you go. All right, we'll do that.
We're here at breakfast with
All
Paul.
right, so we stopped at breakfast now.
Okay, well, and then I come here. Don Sloan. He was after me for probably a few years. I know in the morning call he said I should have filed stalking charges on him. But as things were changing at the newspaper and I started looking at other things, every time I'd go to a function that had all the media together and we were all eating dinner, Don would come over and go, "You ready to come up to take a look at the TV station?" That's how he would put it. He didn't say come and get a job.
And who was putting him up to that was Tim McCoy.
He was also next on that list of people to thank, because those two guys, I will tell you what, they took quite a chance. I'm coming in here as a 6-year-old newspaper guy for 30 years. I hadn't touched television since 1984 at what is now Franciscan University of Steubenville. Dr. Jim Coyle, who's now retired, was the first media professor up there. We were his first class of media graduates. I know one guy wound up doing camera work at one of the Youngstown stations, and I did media around here. But where was I going with that? That train of thought. Tim and Don, yes. And it just they took a whale of a chance on me. I think to them, and they said I had knowledge and I had all this background. That I'm thinking, the last time I was in a TV station to do Chiron, we aimed a camera at a black sheet of paper that we glued the credits onto letter by letter. How this stuff is alchemy. Yeah. But we had some really good people here. I mean, Jason and everybody taught me and worked with me while I climbed that learning curve and allowed me, one of the proudest things is I got a phone full of messages this morning from, I'm going to get choked up, Dr. Nubbit. That's why the Irish goodbye would have been the right way. But
sorry, you can't have one of those.
Reporters who have moved on from here that worked with me, and they're all telling me thank you, and maybe I taught them a thing or two, and that to me is the legacy stuff. That's I got a million stories I can tell you about stuff that probably doesn't even matter anymore. But the fact that there are young reporters out there at the beginnings of their career doing things in bigger cities, Houston, Cincinnati, Columbus, Asheville, North Carolina. I got them all over the place. South Bend, which I love. Go Irish.
There you go.
Thanks to this guy in the Macedonia family, I've gotten to go to some Notre Dame games, and I wouldn't have gotten to have done that if I hadn't met you guys.
Oh, it's their pleasure. Pleasure.
And you, I'm not going to pass by on you. This guy. First time I had to go
cut the feed.
First time I had to go do a live hit. I'm looking at him and I'm going, well, I did live hits in radio, but that's been 42 years ago. What are you telling me? Just pick a couple points, relax, be you. You know what to do. You're the experienced guy. Just it leveled me off, got me cool, and we did well with it. And I have actually learned to. I think going live is the coolest thing in the whole world. I would go live every day on a newscast if I could.
He doesn't have to leave everybody. I think he's signed a petition. We get him back here doing some reports every once in a while.
And I will tell folks that, and I've said this to him. This guy is the Dean Martin of news. He's just the coolest dude in local news. Wow. He's one hit wonder. He comes in, he does the take. It works. It doesn't work. Whatever. He's just going to be Bill, and it's going to come out, and it's going to be accurate, and it's going to be given to you because he cares about it.
Thank you very much.
And it's just that level of calm, and those young folks need that. And
I feel like Jeff on the mornings when I give him a compliment, and he goes, "I don't like taking compliments." But I'm sitting going, "Okay, boss, stop." We're done.
And Jeff, what a great guy to have gotten to work with. Watched him while my kids were growing up. He was Mr. Snowbird, and to get to work with him. And when people are whining to me, my family will go, "It's going to snow. It's going to go down to 100 below, and we're all going to die." And I'm like, Jeff didn't say that. And Jeff didn't say it. Nate didn't say it. Amanda didn't say it. Those are the kings right there.
I want to meet Paul's family member that sounds like that. That's what I want to do.
They all sound like that in my head, and they know it.
Okay. All right. Now, the great thing is we're both going to be able to say this at some point. Producer extraordinaire. She doesn't get that title because she's not extraordinary. When she's moving on to the big time, we'll be able to say, "Look at that, NBC News."
Absolutely.
All right.
She is
the nightly news she's producing. What's
the
going
best.
on?
Talk about a person that climbed the learning curve really quickly. And when it comes to her shows,
I'm gonna cry now.
I basically go sit at my desk and go, "Okay, what do I need to do?" And the word is usually nothing, and it's usually perfect. Yeah. And I just can't thank you enough, producer extraordinaire, too, because I know when it's in your hands, it's going to be taken care of. And it's that care for what we do that I really appreciate seeing in people.
Thank you, again, Paul. We're gonna miss you.
Absolutely. And I said this earlier, and I will say it again now before we wrap things up, because we're gonna wrap stuff up on something totally different.
Yeah.
Wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Bill.
Especially health, because that's the biggest thing in retirement or any time of your life. Wishing all. I mean, we can hope for prosperity. We can hope. Health.
Yes, sir.
So, wishing you all the best, wishing your family all the best, and just enjoy all that time. And so hopefully that all goes the way it should. Now, because we're done with retiring you. You're done.
Yeah,
You know,
the scary part's over. Let's talk racing or something.
Right.
Huh?
We're
Something
having
I'm
two
good at.
topics because Jordan is looking at me like, we have a noon show to do.
Midday is still
We
going to
need
happen even though I'm leaving? Come on.
Oh, that's
Come
the thing.
on,
As I like to say, the dragon always needs fed. 5 to 9, noon.
Midday is like my baby.
Also, I want Tim
She
to...
gets very possessive.
She is very
of midday,
possessive of midday, and I want Tim to be happy with me on my last 4 hours here. So let's crank this.
All right, so we have national days today. I'll just give you a few of them. National Flapjack Day. So that's always good. It's pancakes, stack of pancakes.
Carbs.
National Tartar Sauce Day. First day of Lenten
First Friday
lunches.
in Lent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Employee Appreciation Day. And today at Channel 9, we're retiring Paul. But there's also a nice spread.
There
out
is,
there in the
we do have an Appreciation Day coming, which is
and
great.
then I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw it. But it's National Crown Roast Day. And they take what?
It was crown roast of pork is what we were looking
crown
at,
roast
right?
of pork. So it's like, and it's turned upside down with stuffing in the middle. It looks like a crown.
They take the ribs, they stand them up and they tie them together somehow and fill it. Yeah.
And it makes complete sense to have crown roast on first day of Lent.
Dr. G did a crown roast of beef a few years ago for Easter, and it was like, oh my God, to die for. And
wow. Okay.
We'll never do it again because I think we had to sell a car to actually buy the piece of meat. But
okay. Massachusetts, 1801, first state to have voter registration. 1876, this thing, maybe not what he was thinking about, but Alexander Graham Bell
Watson,
gets a patent for
come
the telephone.
quick, I need you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now we get Bryan Cranston, Walter White on Breaking Bad, born in 1956, and he was also Dr. Watley on Seinfeld.
And Kevin James's crazy neighbor on King of Queens.
Yeah, I mean, just announced. Oh, have you seen the show Your Honor?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Oh, talk about a great role.
George's give me the wrap up. All right, but before we do that, because Paul is all about racing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Janet Guthrie, born in 1938, first female driver in the Indianapolis 500 and the Daytona 500.
Yes.
Can you sum up in 15 seconds? You only have 15 seconds. What it meant for her to be able to do those things when she did them, because it wasn't now it's a lot easier than back when she was doing it.
It was her shoulders that Danica Patrick rides on, and all these other women who came. I mean, she took abuse even from people like AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti. Women don't belong in the Indy 500, which she was an engineer, University of Michigan. She just never had the break. Because of the time she was doing it in, even as a novelty act, no one was going to give her a good car to go drive. So she drove some really lousy equipment, did her best with it, and toughed it out. And what an amazing woman.
Well, if you could qualify for the Indy 500, Daytona 500 with bad equipment, how good a driver are you?
Exactly.
So there you go.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. After 44 years, the big man here, he's putting the keyboard away. He's putting the microphone down. We'll get him to come out on the 9-minute Phill-Up every once in a while. I might just have to stop by the porch one day and check in with Paul. Jordan, I'll be over to porch enjoying a summer day with Paul talking about.
Bring the live view, whatever we got. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about lemonade or something.
Set her up and go. My neighbor who loves Channel 9 will be out there yelling, "It's News 9." Gary, I hope you see this. Love you, buddy.
All right. Well, we are going to say so long for now. Not going to say goodbye.
No.
Not going to say goodbye. What we're going to do is, Paul, you get 2 rules. You know the 2 rules. Have fun and always try your best. Have a great weekend, everybody. Jordan, have a great weekend. Paul, have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone, for everything. Thank you.
He's always getting the last word, isn't he?